on the agenda, we're headed for Tasmania. Here's Greg McShane.
Thanks, Steve. Absolutely brilliant conditions here at Baskerville. We're looking forward to a great 250 production race. I'm very fortunate to have with me in commentary Dr. Helen Malouf, who is no stranger to motorcycle racing. Good afternoon, Helen.
Hi, Greg.
Now, Helen, what do you think of the Baskerville circuit? You've raced here before. Your impressions?
Well, Greg, it's a narrow little circuit and very, very bumpy. Takes a big toll on tyres here.
I think one of the things that the guys really have been working on has been suspension settings. Ferguson from pole, Muggeridge out of 2, Curtin and Issel, they will round out the front row. And let's have a look. That is our man Ferguson. Came from pole position, qualified ahead of the field. In fact, a very tight qualifying field. Less than a second covering the first 20 positions as bike 3 gets away. Kevin Curtin is going to storm into the lead. A great start from him. He'll be pleased with that. Gee, I think we put the mockers there on Ferguson. He's fallen back to about 5th or 6th place. He's going to have to work for it. Issel in 2nd, Muggeridge back in 3rd. Chad Turnbull sitting back there in 4th place. How would you be if you're in the middle of this field? Everyone jockeying for position, trying to sort themselves out. Warwick Nowland there on the Bike Biz machine. We're on board with Kevin Curtin in the lead of the second of the 250 production races here at Baskerville. Have a listen to how hard he works this motorcycle. Absolutely wringing the 250cc's neck.
Also, Greg, it'll give you a chance to have a look at the actual track surface here and to feel those bumps with Kevin Curtin.
Yes, it seems that parts of the circuit are quite good. In fact, they have done some resurfacing. And right at the moment, Curtin looks strong. He's got himself a good lead. Well, a reasonable lead in 250 production racing at the moment. And you can see there's 5 or 6 motorcycles all battling for that second position. Now, Adam Ferguson, bike 7, is starting to make his way forward after a not-so-good start from him. But Curtin's trying to make the break at the moment. He's doing a nice job into the bargain at his bike 84 up there as well. So Turnbull's having himself a good run in 2nd place. Then it's Carl Muggeridge, bike 12. One thing these guys would be fairly cautious about at the moment would be cold tyres. They do use tyre warmers, but they still don't give that kind of temperature that you get actually out on the circuit racing. Helen, this is big time for these guys right now. They've got to try and get the break. That's exactly what Kevin Curtin's doing.
Yeah, I think Kevin, Greg, has to try and capitalise on that good bunch tossing around there for 2nd place. If he can pull as much of the gap as he can now, he's going to have an easier run in the next few laps.
Well, I suppose the theory being that they're holding themselves up, he can try and make the break. Turnbull, though, seems to have broken away from that group and is working very hard to try and make up the distance. Again, we're on board with Kevin Curtin on his Suzuki. This is the first turn after the start. Now they head downhill, and this is a tough corner. Slows right down. Now we're looking back at the rider. Look how hard he works, climbing from one side of the motorcycle to the other. And what about the concentration? The look on those eyes would drill holes in steel.
The downhill parts of the track there, Greg, you were talking about earlier, you've got to be very careful with the front ends there, because that's where they tend to wash them out heavily under brakes into those slow corners.
Yes, I suppose with vision we don't actually realise how steep that is downhill. If you try and walk up it, it's a fair old uphill run, but downhill on the bikes they really do slow up. They go through there in about 2nd gear. Well, the battle's on now. Here comes Adam Ferguson. Bike 7 has made a huge run through the field. He's gone past Chad Turnbull and has now moved himself up into 3rd place. So Adam Ferguson, bike 7, round the outside of Carl Muggeridge. Thank you very much. And just have a look at the bike moving around. Ellen, you're right about the roughness of the circuit. It really does knock the riders around. But at the moment, it seems to me that bike 7 here, our man Adam Ferguson, he seems to have a handle on it. He's certainly the quickest bike on the track.
Yeah, I think Adam at this stage of the race, Greg, will actually be really fired up and raring to go. He's just picked off 4 places in a row there, and he'll have his eyes set heavily there on Kevin Curtin, and he's already on his tail now. I think you'll find too what he'll be thinking. He seems to be very good under brakes, and I think he'll try and take Kevin under brakes.
Yes, one thing is for certain, it's geared nicely down the back straight here, and in fact nicely picked. Here he goes up the inside. Kevin Curtin did not have an answer for that. So Adam Ferguson, the new leader, let's have a look at his style from Curtin's machine. In fact, Ferguson's run wide. Curtin capitalises, gets up the inside, and it looks to me, no, Ferguson back up the outside. Thank you very much. Yeah, I tell you what, he worked hard for that. He wasn't going to give it up, and has continued on with it. And once you get up the inside, Helen, that's your corner.
That's exactly right, Greg. Once you have that line, you can then push that other rider as wide as you want to push that other rider. And that's exactly what he's gone and done.
Well, right now you're on board with Kevin Curtin. Gee, he's got some stick up the straight now. He's got some pace. He's managed to go on by Curtin. Goes back into the lead. Now they're downhill heading for the left-hander. Ferguson comes back on him. No, Curtin shuts the door. And I think right now he'd be looking for a bit of a slipstream down the back straight to try and make up that difference. But I think Kevin Curtin would be well aware of the fact that here comes Adam Ferguson again up the inside. Replay, thank you very much. So Ferguson up into the lead.
The other thing this is going to do, of course, is give Muggeridge there in third place a chance to catch up with these first two riders tussling with each other.
Well, I think right now that's exactly what he's done. He's caught right up to the rear of Kevin Curtin's machine. So it's a three-way battle for the lead here at Baskerville Raceway. And you can see the style of the riders quite different. Some of them climb right off the side of the motorcycle. Others prefer to just try and lean the motorcycle in. It's Ferguson, Curtin and Chad Turnbull.
Yes, Chad's caught up with these two now. They've had a little bit of a battle, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Chad pull over and pass Kevin Curtin there. I think Kevin's having a few little tyre problems. He's had a few slides around there in those last few corners. Bike's moving around quite a bit, but again, he's pulling the pace on, so...
Well, Ferguson has got the pressure on him. Bike 7 as this man goes for the late brakes. Very late, in fact. The bike sideways, turns it in. He's got a lap competitor in his way. You can see the dirt coming off his knee, dragging on the inside of the circuit. Gee, this rider who's being lapped is getting himself a riding lesson. We're on board one more time with Kevin Curtin. This guy is working hard. Obviously sponsored by Bridgestone. The tyres play a major part in 250 production racing. Helen, you've been involved with this class as a competitor for many years, and the tyres really play one of the biggest parts of whether you're competitive or not.
That's correct, Greg. There's several different tyre brands that the boys can choose from, and some of them are sponsored by one particular tyre brand, which means they have no flexibility in changing their tyre brands. Mind you, if that's the tyre brand that suits them, then that serves their purpose.
Yes, I suppose that you can always mix and match so long as you're paying for them, and in this game, tyres are fairly expensive, around $400 for a pair of tyres for these guys. They in fact run the same tyres through both races, so they're marked, they have to keep the same tyres. Here comes Kevin Curtin on the charge, trying to make up the ground. Now that is a late break for Kevin Curtin. Chad Turnbull's right in behind him. Talk about pressure cooker situation here. Adam Ferguson out in front, and he has ridden for it. Turnbull up the inside, moves himself into second place. Our leader, who was leading this for quite a while, is back into third place. So the man with the camera now sitting back, now having to watch two more riders out in front. Kevin Curtin would not be happy.
Kevin's actually quite a sedate sort of a bloke, really, and I think you'll find he'll just sit back there and watch these boys, and hopefully when they have the little combat with each other, he'll take full advantage of that.
Actually, that's nicely put, that he's a fairly sedate fellow, because he's cool, calm and collected, and really tackles this racing in a professional sense. Whereas some of the younger riders maybe ride from the heart a little too much, but boy, aren't they spectacular to watch. Turnbull gets the back wheel off the ground, makes it pretty hard to get the thing to turn into the corner when you're only riding in on the front wheel. Absolutely spectacular action from this field. It is Adam Ferguson, bike 7 in control. Turnbull on the charge and chasing him. One more time, we're watching from Kevin Curtin's machine. Have a look at the lines they're having to take to get around the lap competitors. Doesn't that make life misery for you sometimes? All of your plans go out the window. Ferguson has lost the front end and crashed himself out of the lead. Oh boy, he won't be pleased about that.
That was that move, Greg, under front brakes going down a hill. This track's very hard on front tyres, and this is what he's just proved.
Doesn't look destroyed about that, and he was just looking so strong to put double points in the bag simply from taking out the first race. He looks so strong. The race continues. Here comes Muggeridge round the outside of Kevin Curtin. So Muggeridge now moves himself up into second place. They've got a lap competitor now to deal with. Oh, how close is that? And Helen, doesn't that make you feel sick when you've got to try and take the risk?
Or when you're racing there, Greg, and you come up on these lap riders, and I think that would have been in Adam Ferguson's head as well. He just passed a lap rider when he locked that front end up. and it just distracts you.
Well, it certainly hasn't detracted, I suppose, from the type of racing we're seeing here. These guys are going at it big time. Curtin is not giving up. He's determined to fight back to the front of this race. It is Chad Turnbull, then it's Muggeridge, and then Kevin Curtin in third position, moving himself up to second, well, almost getting himself up to second. Muggeridge battling back, and look at this guy hanging off the side of his motorcycle, committed all the way down that straight, and then into this left-hander, really gets off the side of the bike. So Carl Muggeridge, definitely a fit young rider and prepared to get everything he's got onto the ground to do the job. Gets the back wheel off the ground. Now Curtin is seeming to be later and later on the brakes. I think he's just settling into the fact that he really does have to go that extra 5 metres.
He does, Greg, if he wants to keep up with these fellows under brakes, because that's where he's being passed. Meanwhile, while these boys are having this little head-to-head battle here, we've got first place Chad Turnbull out front there, pulling a bit of a gap on the boys.
Yeah, I think Turnbull is probably taking advantage of this. He's unaware of the situation unless his pit board says P1 plus maybe half a second. It's not a lot in 250 production racing. The crowd here at Baskerville on their feet. This is a brilliant race. Muggeridge has a look behind. All he can see is the camera lens. Up the inside goes Kevin Curtin. Amazing action there. So Muggeridge saying to himself, maybe not a good move.
It's a golden rule, Greg. You never look behind you. You look behind you, you slow down, and that's exactly what's happened to him.
Well, it certainly proves that golden rule. Here comes Muggeridge back on Curtin. Down the inside he goes. Late on brakes. This is fantastic action. Motorcycle racing at its very best here at Baskerville Raceway. The crowd, well, they couldn't have asked for anything better. Muggeridge, here he is in second place. Round the outside goes Kevin Curtin. You're seeing it live from the motorcycle. Fantastic move there. Curtin runs a little wide. Muggeridge tries to come back on him. Doesn't quite work. Turnbull, though, meanwhile, is out in front, running away with this. Our man with the camera, Kevin Curtin's got himself up to second place on their last lap. I don't know if he can do it, but he's got plenty of tick of this boy. He is going to go for it.
Now, Kevin's been very tactical there. He's used Muggeridge's slipstream, and he's taken full advantage with that. He's come into the corner late and accelerated out, so he's actually slowed Muggeridge down mid-corner and got the drive out of the corner, therefore pulling a bit of a gap on him. He's used it to his advantage.
Well, he certainly has. He's almost onto the tail of our leader, Chad Turnbull, for the final time. There are lap competitors that are really going to come into play this time. Turnbull's forced to take the wide line, take the risky line. Round the outside, ducks up the inside as well as he heads for the line. Checker flag out. Turnbull grabs it. Kevin Curtin grabs second place. Muggeridge a fighting third. Well, the action here at Baskerville Raceway, truly electric. Fortunately, Adam Ferguson is up and okay. Well, once again, the 250 production races turning it on. Isn't this exciting action? The 250, 1/4 of a litre CC machines, amazing performance. Curtin, 101 points. Ferguson on 80. Issel, Turnbull, McAteer and Muggeridge. We've got the 250 Grand Prix machines coming up a little later. Meantime, let's go to the Speedway with Steve Raymond.
And the speed cars are in the spotlight tonight.